Well, Maurice Shanahan was the name on everybody's lips after his haul of 217 against 4 Mile Water last weekend. Can he fire Lismore to the last 8 over the weekend? To preview all the round 3 action, delighted to welcome back to our Dungarvan studios Kieran O'Gorman, former Waterford minor and under-21 coach and county medalist with Lismore. And Kieran, you're among the lucky ones to see Maurice up close and personal, live in Fairfield last Saturday. What impressed you most about his performance?
He was unerring with frees. He didn't miss any. One drop short. I don't think every time he, apart from that one, and that was on target. So there was he didn't hit any free off target. It wasn't just Maurice's free taking. I just thought his overall display, his work rate, like Lismore played him at wing forward. He was an outlet for a long puck out, and he was winning him. And if he wasn't winning him, he was breaking him, and there was fellas getting onto him. And people were saying, "Oh, sure, look, there was no one marking him taking the frees." But I'd say out of the 114, maybe he won 6 or 7 of them frees himself, possibly as well. So it just goes to show that he was causing problems. It wasn't just from his frees. To score 1-3 from wing forward from play is a great return. And Tomas, I said it here to you before, in my eyes, he's the best club hurler in Waterford for 10 years.
Yeah, you have said that before, Kieran. I'm sure like the likes of Páirce Mahoney, Philip Mahoney being that equation, Jamie Barron, but for you, he's number one.
Well, I suppose I'm biased, yeah, and I won't make any apologies for that. But yeah, he is, yeah.
What makes him the standout club player in your view?
It's his dedication, I suppose. Maurice will last leave the field after training, and he'll bring away a bag of slitters, and he'll be up in the field the following day, and maybe the following day again on his own when there's no training, maybe hitting 100 frees. So that's what makes him so good at it. And I'm sure Páirce Mahoney does the same in Ballygunner and free takers all over the country, not even the county. But I just know it from first hand because I can see Maurice doing it, and he practices and practices and practices. So you don't get good at things by mistake. It's practice.
Was that his best display for Lismore in your view over the years?
I was up there with one of his best, I suppose. Yeah, but he's after having so many good performances for Lismore over the years. You forget a lot of them. Just need another one from him. Not only him, for the rest of the lads now on Sunday to try and fire Lismore into a quarter final. Yeah,
well, let's hear from the man himself, Kieran. I asked him that very question. Was it his finest hour for Lismore after that victory over 4 Mile Water last Saturday?
Probably, yeah, it was up there. We won them anyhow, Tomas, but it's not about me. We had a tough game here today against 4 Mile. We were watching it last week, and we knew 4 Mile were going to come today, because if they won, they were in the quarter final, and today was a knockout game for Lismore, to be honest, because we didn't want to go next week. No, next week is a knockout game because Dungarvan are dying, and they'll die in their boots next weekend, because if they don't win, they're out to us, and who knows, if they beat us by enough, we could be out. Just we don't know now what way it's going to go, but look, today we knew we knew we had to come down here today and be at 100%. And I think the first 10 minutes to us, we were a bit ring rusty, but we grew into it. We grew into it big time. And the one thing about us today, in other years, we worked like dogs, Tomas. We worked like dogs, and that was drilled into us, because we played 1 or 2 challenge games and they didn't go our way, Tomas. We got beaten badly in 2, but it's all the championship is what matters, Tomas, I suppose.
Yeah, Kieran, like you can hear it in his voice how much it means for him to hurl for Lismore and to win for Lismore as well.
Yeah, and it's not just Maurice, like it means an awful lot to the whole lot of them. Like, they have a few new fellas on the panel this year, but they still have a relatively small panel. They are working hard, and the lads that are trying, Dan and Sider and Barney and Seamus, the work that they're putting in off the field as well as what the lads are putting in on, like, they'll leave no stone unturned, and like, I suppose they're doing the same the last couple of years that they're involved. But look, that's what everyone has to do. I suppose every team's playing catch up with Ballygunner. And if you don't believe that you can get there and hopefully have a go off, I'm sure you may as well not turn up at all. I was very impressed last week from Lismore point of view, is that 4 Mile Water came back at the lads. Lismore went 10 points up. 4 Mile got 6 points unanswered, I think, got it back down to 4. And it just showed, like, they had a momentum going, and just showed, like, Lismore put the shoulder to the wheel again. They dug deep and they dug for one another, and they came out on top in the end by 8 points. Maybe a year or two ago, that might have slipped away from them. The heads might have dropped. But maybe they're maybe a bit more mature, and they believe in themselves and they believe in each other. And that's what I think dug them out last week.
And then just the last question on Maurice, Kieran, does he still have something to offer the county team in your view?
In my view, he does, yeah, but it's not my view that counts. But yeah, in my view, he does.
Well, it's the Lismore Dungarvan game is going to be the game where there's most at stake this weekend, Kieran. It's a 6 o'clock throw-in on Sunday evening in Fairfield. Win for Dungarvan by any margin will send them through and knock Four Mile Water out of the equation. Lismore looks secure enough. They would need to lose by 16 points to miss out on a quarter-final. How can Dungarvan improve on their display against Four Mile Water first time out?
Their display wasn't that awful bad, I thought. To me, they looked a better team in the second half. They had some bad wides, and they lost the game by a point with probably just offhand they had 5 or 6 poor wides from not being under pressure. And the lads that got them, you wouldn't expect them. You'd expect them to score. Everyone is saying, Lismore, they'll beat Dungarvan. This is going to be a wicked battle. Like the last time they met, Dungarvan knocked Lismore at Championship 2 years ago. I think, is it 2 or 3 years ago?
Yeah, 2 years ago, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know why people why the bookies are making Lismore such hard favourites for this. As I said, the last time they met, Dungarvan knocked Lismore at the Championship. And plus the fact that Dungarvan now, they're fighting for their lives in this one. I think the bookies have a 4-9, 2-1. There's not that much between the two teams. Yeah,
do you think the fact that Dungarvan have a couple of injuries might play into that as well, Kieran? Ryan Donnelly is out for the season. Conor Sheridan, Kieran Power came off with injuries against 4 Mile the last year. I think there might be one or two others as well. Is that why Lismore are fancy for this one?
Maybe so, yeah, but you never know how until the team goes out in the field where the lads that are supposedly injured are injured, so we'll have to wait and see. I'm not saying that they're not injured, but we don't, we've always heard stories that this fella's injured, that fella's injured, next thing they're playing. No matter what 15 go out in the field for Dungarvan, I'm sure they're going to be up for it because they don't want Sunday to be their last game of the year.
And Kevin Daly is involved in their backroom team with Dungarvan, a player that you would have encountered with Waterford Miners in 2013, of course, captained the team, lifted the Irish Press Cup. How was your experience of him, Kieran, during that period?
Yeah, a very level-headed young man is Kevin, and I'm sure he'd give it everything that he has. I'm sure that he was involved with the UCC Freshers team last year that won their competition. So, he's not coming in as a rookie coach. He was involved with the Waterford Miners 2 years ago as a selector as well. So, it's not as if Kevin was plucked out of a hat and will you do this for us? It's not. He has a bit of experience, both as a player and I suppose injury cut his playing career short. He was misfortunate in that. But I'm
sure he would have been a player you'd like to have involved with the under-21s if he was, I suppose, free of injury in 2016, Kieran.
Yeah, true enough. Kevin had 2 bad knee injuries, you know what I mean? And it's wicked hard for him to come back from that. He's trying to make him name for himself as a coach and manager now, but then I hope it worked out for him, but maybe not on Sunday.
Right, very good, very good. So it's Lismore versus Dungarvan Sunday evening, 6 o'clock in Fairfield, and the other six teams playing over the weekend, Kieran, they're already through. You're looking at Passage, Ballygunner, Rowan Moore, Mount Sion, Abbeyside and De La Salle, but top spot is up for grabs in each group, which could prove important when we move into the knockout stages. And I suppose first up on Saturday, Ballygunner Passage, 2:30 Welsh Park on Saturday. And I suppose for Passage is really the pressure's off after coming off the back of that 4-point win over Tallow last Sunday.
Yeah, they're qualified for a quarter-final and playing Ballygunner, and I suppose, look, it's hard to see them beat Ballygunner, but Passage know as well that they can't meet Ballygunner in a quarter-final, so the pressure is off them. They're qualified for a quarter-final. It's a real nothing game, this one, and look, it's hard to see anything but Ballygunner winning this game. I know, Passage, it's nearly like a new-look Passage team. A lot of the old names that you should be familiar with, the likes of Pa Welsh not playing on the weekend, and I don't think he's playing. So, credit to Passage and their management, for getting that win over Taller the other day with a relatively new team. Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of that, I was talking to Michael Welch after the game, their manager, former Ireland winning goalkeeper with Kilkenny, and he touched on that very fact, that it was a very young Passage team that took the field. Let's hear from him now.
Probably changed around the team a lot this year. We had a lot of lads away and a lot of very experienced lads away and only coming back, and we probably the youngest Passage team ever, four 4 under-19 starting, and so we knew, but they worked hard, and we played very well at times, and then we showed our inexperience at times. We emptied the bench, and it's just that, as I said, lads are away. Like Killian Fitzgerald was in Australia, so it's going to take him a bit of time, and Owen Connors has been away as well, and Thomas Connors, of course, is not around. So we're a young team, we're learning, and we're in a quarter final, and we're thrilled with that, because we knew coming in that this was going to be a tough game, and this year is a bit of a change in Passage, and it's great to see that the young lads, and they all did well, in fairness to them as well. I thought, like, Kieran O'Neill was outstanding, Paddy Flynn worked his socks off, and Mikey Cummins, I thought, had a great game, and Owen Riley worked very hard when he came out to midfield as well. So look, I'm delighted with the result. I'm delighted to be through to the quarter final. We know there's loads of improvement there, and we'll work away in the next couple of weeks now to try and get that.
Yeah, Kieran, there must have been great encouragement in Passage with how the youngsters perform, particularly Mikey Cummins getting 9 points in his debut.
Yeah, it's great. It's a good confidence boost for Mikey Cummins. Like, Mikey's been talked about around the county, I suppose, since he was 14, 15, and Sunday he came of age, I suppose, and 9 points in your senior debut. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah,
absolutely. Like, I suppose, unfortunately for Passage, ever since that 2013 final win, that unforgettable day in Welsh Park, kind of Ballygunner have dished out a couple of big beatings to them, especially, I suppose, in semi-final and a quarter-final last year. Kieran, could something similar be in store for them come Saturday afternoon?
I hope not, because like a young team like that, if a young team like that could get a heavy beating, like it could knock it, like, for all the good that the victory over Tara did for their confidence, like if they get a trimming from Ballygunner on at the weekend, that could just knock them back. Them young lads that Michael Welsh mentioned there, none of them have been on the receiving ends of these beatings from Ballygunner, and they'll probably go in. Like, young fellas won't have any fear, and they'll give it a go. But look, you can't. It's hard to see Passage putting it up to causing an upset here. Like Ballygunner are going 37 games in a row, is it? In the Waterford
I think it's could be 35 on Saturday if they take care of Passage. Yeah, so
yeah, it's unbelievable record. But yeah, it's hard to see anyone but Ballygunner in that one.
Right. From what you've seen so far, is there any sign of Ballygunner taking their foot off the pedal, Kieran?
No, I saw them the first night against Tyler, like, and they're just so meticulous in everything they do. It's like it's a well-oiled machine, and they all just work. They just work hard, so hard for each other. There's nothing spectacular about it. They have their system, and they know it so well, and everyone knows their job out in the field, and they all do it exceptionally well. And they have the exceptional hurlers to do the job that they want to do as well, so that helps. Yeah,
and one of those exceptional players is Desi Hutchinson, and judging by that first display against Tello, he's looking to back up what he did in 2019.
It's promising. I suppose it's promising for Liam Carl and his selectors as well to see Desi putting in a performance like that. There hasn't been many standout match-winning forwards over the years in Waterford. Like, I'm not being critical of anyone that has played, but like we hadn't had a John Milan or a Paul Flynn, Owen Kelly even there for a number of years, kind of a match winner on their own. Maybe Desi could be that missing link that, a little spark of brilliance like Flynn or Milan was able to produce. So maybe he might be the one that we're looking for.
Very good. And we're staying in Welsh Park on Saturday evening, Kieran, for De La Salle and Abbeyside, 6:30 in Welsh Park. The last two runners up to Ballygunner going head to head here. Who do you fancy to come out on top in this one?
I think this will be very close. And people are saying, both teams are qualified, they won't mind. But nobody will want to play Ballygunner in a quarter final. So both of these will be going hard to try and finish top of the group. As well as that, any team this weekend, every team will want to win this weekend, because you don't want to be going into the following weekend playing a quarter final after defeat. You want to be going in playing a quarter final after a victory. So I can see this being very close. I suppose both teams had relatively easy victories over Ballysagart, which is then you don't really know the form of the two teams going into it, because you don't know what's in the locker. But I think this could be possibly the game of the weekend. You want to win going into quarter final. Both of them would fancy their chances if they were playing Ballygunner in the moment, but they don't want to play them in a quarter final. They want to wait till the final, or maybe even a semi-final final. They don't want to be playing them in a quarter final. I know the Ballysagart didn't put up much of an opposition last week to Abbeyside, but I was impressed with Abbeyside. They moved the ball very quickly, I thought, and the two-man full forward line, Mark Funcombe and Michael Kiley, looked dangerous every time the ball went in. They've the best man marker in the county, so whoever Conor Prunty picks up, God help him.
Could it be Jack Fagan?
It could be. He won't leave him alone for an hour. He'll know what he'll be after having for his breakfast. But Jesus, you're putting me on the spot now to try and predict the winner on this one. I'll go with De La Salle just because of the fact that it's in Welsh Park.
Okay. Do you think the Welsh Park factor might count?
Might do, yeah.
Very good. And coming to Sunday then, Mount Sion versus Rowan Moore, 2:00, Welsh Park again. 6th year in a row that these teams have met, Kieran, believe it or believe it not. And even though both clubs are through, will this still be a full-blooded affair come Sunday afternoon?
With Rowan Moore and Mount Sion playing, if both clubs were relegated, it'd be a full-blooded affair.
Right.
It's a local derby, and look, it's bragging rights between their neighbours. So look, this is going to be full-blooded. Both will be going for victory. Mount Sion with Austin Gleeson was superb the first day. He seems to be back to his best and things like that. His brother Jamie is new onto the team as well. Owen Madigan, I believe, got a straight red last week for Rowan Moore, so he'll be a loss to Rowan Moore. But Rowan Moore are very organised and they play to a system, and I've been trying to work it out and I can't work it out what way they play, and they come at you in droves, like they defend in droves and they attack in droves, and it's very effective for them. And with Peter Queally at the helm now, they'll even be more organised. So,
will they be targeting this game, Kieran, to beat Mount Sion, get that scalp under their belt heading into a quarter-final?
Yeah, and both teams attack. As I said a while ago, like, you don't want to be going in playing a quarter-final after defeat, especially you don't want to be a defeat in a local derby, because that knocks you back even more than an ordinary defeat, because you're going to be losing bragging rights and everything. So you're going to be meeting the fellas on the street the following day, and you're going to, I don't want to be meeting him. So,
who will have the bragging rights, Kieran, do you think, come Sunday afternoon?
I suppose the ace in the pack on the field, and if he puts in a performance that he's capable of, Aston Gleeson, he's a match winner on any day for any team. So, I'll give the vote to Mount Sion just on the Aston Gleeson factor.
Very good, very good. And Kieran, like a lot of GA fans, were you disappointed to hear that crowds will still be restricted to 200 up until the 31st of August?
Yeah, I think that was a big kick in the teeth for the GA, because everyone was expecting maybe that from the 10th of August, which is on Monday, that to be raised to 500, and maybe the GA were hoping that they could raise it for this weekend. A special exemption for club matches. Could they raise it if it was going to come in Monday? Why not? Could they bring it in on Sunday to leave 500 into matches? And it's very disappointing, because like, you have club members doing loads of work and can't get to their club games. The live streaming has been brilliant, and is a brilliant idea from the county board in conjunction with Nemerton. At least everyone can get to see the game. It's not the same as being there, but like the GA used to always say, nothing beats being there. But at least people can get to see the matches now with the live stream, and the quality is excellent. But yeah, it is disappointing. Yeah,
it's disappointing, and like there is the live possibility now of a county final being held with only 200 people present. Like, yeah,
but like, some people think 200, but it's 200 including the two panels of players. Like, so the most you'd have is 100 spectators. Look, whoever wins county final won't care if there's 100 or 1,000 or 2,000 or 3,000. If they win the News and Star Cup, they won't mind who's there and who's not there. But it's very disappointing for the fans. But look, it's nobody's fault. It's not the GA's fault. It's not the county. It's not Waterford County Board's fault. It's not Croke Park's fault. It's government guidelines, and it's not the government's fault either. I'm not criticising them. Yeah. They are just doing what's best for everyone in the country. It's just the times we're in, But look, and I suppose the thing about it, everyone is understandable of the fact of what's going on as well, and they know not everyone can get to the games, which is disappointing. But look, what can we do? Only do the best and drive on, and hopefully us lucky ones that can get to see him tomorrow, that we get to see good games.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, fingers crossed. The case will stay low in Waterford. And just a final one for you, Kieran. We're getting to the knockout stages of the Western Intermediate Championship this weekend. You've caught a couple of the matches so far. What teams have stood out, and who do you fancy to go all the way this year?
Ring, I think, at the start of the year were a team that I fancied, and plus the fact that the way this year has gone, that all hurling is being played at the moment, so they just have the hurling, and then they haven't got football 1 week, hurling the next week. So maybe that might play to their strengths. Then Ballyduff have only just come down from senior, and they've had numerous years' experience of senior. So I think it's kind of teed up the way the draw has gone. If both can come through the quarters, and they won't meet until the final. Now, I'm not disregarding the likes of Medelago or Clashmore or anyone, but I think everyone is looking, saying, geez, this could be a great one if these get to a final. And I think, just looking at it, and from what I've seen, they're probably two of the best teams. They are the two best teams in it on paper. Now, I saw Clashmore last week playing Cappoquin. I was impressed with them. Obviously, they had been beaten by Ring the week before, but maybe they came on a lot for that first game. They were in the Western final 2 years ago. They were in a county final 2 years ago against Clonea, wasn't it?
Yeah, and just missed out by a couple of points.
Yeah. They just missed out on going senior. So if they it was great to see Tug the Buck back playing last Sunday as well. He was his usual self, spraying balls all over the field. He was very, very effective putting balls into players' hands. He gave a great performance, which is good to see. I think the two teams, the standout teams in it, are Ballyduff and Ring.
Kieran, thanks a million again for dropping into the studio, and enjoy the games over the weekend.
Thank you. Bye now.
We love Waterford. We are WLR.
A quick look at the divisional action over the weekend. 4 Western Intermediate quarter-finals will take place in Fairfield. This evening at 7, it's Onrine versus Stradbally. On Saturday at 2, Medeligo versus Clashmore. Saturday at 6, Ardmore v Shamrocks. And Sunday at 2, Ballyduff Upper versus St Mary's. The Eastern Intermediate is also down to the last 8. Dunhill knocked out defending champions Ballygunner last Sunday. They will take on St Saviour's in Kill at 2:30 on Saturday, while it's Ferrybank versus Ballyduff Lower in Fenner at 6. Then to Sunday, it's De La Salle second string up against Portlaw in Dunhill at 3:30. And then it's Erin's Own versus Butlerstown in Welsh Park at 6 o'clock. In the Western Junior A, 3 group games down for decision. On Saturday, it's Onrine versus Turin in Bushy Park at 5. Colligan versus Geraldines in Cappoquin at 7. And then on Sunday, Abbeyside versus Kilrossenty in Bushy Park for a 12 o'clock throw-in. 3 Eastern Junior A quarter-finals are underway this evening. Rowanmore versus Dunhill, Ballygunner versus Kilmacthomas, and Mount Sion versus Ballydurn. And the junior action is rounded off on Sunday with Tramore versus Passage in Butlerstown for a 1 o'clock start. Round 2 of the Senior Camogie Championship will also be held this weekend. In Group 1, St Anne's will play host to Cappoquin, while in Group 2, Lismore will have home advantage against Galtier. Both games underway at 6:30 on Saturday evening. And we also wish a speedy recovery to De La Salle's Courtney Healy, who suffered a serious leg injury against Galtier last weekend, and that game was subsequently abandoned in the second half. The other game last weekend ended all square, Cappoquin 1-8, Tramore 1-8. It's also round 2 of the Senior Ladies Football Championship. Both games will be staged on Sunday morning at 11 o'clock. Ballymacarbery, bidding for 39 in a row, welcomes Stradbally to the Mill Field, while Abbeyside will be at home to Cummer Rangers.
Now you're hurling. Lorna Porca with Tomás McCarthy on WLR.